Dear participants, dear children, I wish to thank the organizer for inviting me to join you at the national launch of the global study on children deprived of liberty in Cambodia. This is a crucial meeting that brings together key multi-stakeholders, including government representatives, civil society, UN system, public in general, and most importantly, children, to enable a strong and effective collaboration in the way forward to the implementation of the global study recommendation. As many of you know, the Global Study on Children Deprived of Liberty was presented to the General Assembly in 2019. My mandate is leading the UN Task Force on Children Deprived of Liberty to provide support and to ensure follow-up of the recommendation of the global study in close cooperation with states, UN agencies, civil societies, and academia. Deprivation of liberty is one of the most harmful violations of children's fundamental human rights. Depriving children of their liberty impacts on their well-being and continues into adulthood. The negative consequences results in a higher cost for society and state in the long term. Children deprived of liberty, who are often forgotten and uncounted, are left behind, undermining the achievement of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. That is why we must drastically reduce the number of children deprived of liberty, ensuring that detention is only used as a matter of last resort in exceptional circumstances and for the shortest possible period. Alternatives to deprivation of liberty, for example, restorative justice, rehabilitation and reintegration, family and community-based approaches must also be given greater priority. Many countries decided to release children who were deprived of liberty during the pandemic for public health reasons. I would argue that this should have been done anyway for child rights reasons, but it raises the question: if states were willing to end the deprivation of liberty for children under these circumstances, why were they deprived of liberty to begin with? Dear participants, guided by Cambodia's international obligation and political commitments toward children, and in its role as a pathfinder country to end all forms of violence against children, I commend the government of Cambodia for progress made in the safeguard of children's rights, specifically in the areas of justice for children and child protection. I warmly welcome the government's statement issued on the occasion of the national launch of the global study, and I encourage the government to translate its commitment into concrete action to prevent and put an end to all forms of deprivation of liberty of children. The government statement, the civil society statement, and the children's statement complement to each other and should be approached with an integrated and holistic roadmap to guide the national implementation of the global study recommendation. I very specially wish to congratulate all children who actively participated in this process through the pre-session consultation, the sharing of personal stories, and with their participation in today's event. And I encourage you all to continue involving children in decision-making processes. Dear participants, it is my hope that this national launch will mark a turning point in ending the invisibility and overcoming the vulnerability, stigmatization, and social exclusion of children deprived of liberty in Cambodia. My mandate stands ready to continue collaborating very closely with the government of Cambodia and all other key stakeholders, including children, to prevent and end deprivation of liberty of children. Thank you.